you ever notice Shabbat Shalom starts with the word shh? When I was a kid, there was somebody in my temple who always used to go, Shabbat Shalom. And I went, isn't it Shabbat? And he went, no, it's Shabbat. And I said, what is that? And he said, it starts with shh, and that becomes a habit. And it made sense. So it became Shabbat, Shahabit. So, whatever. In any case, welcome to our family Shabbat service. We've got some special things happening today. We have some exciting things happening in the school. We have students being taught by new teacher, Rhoda Cantor, who's over there someplace. Hi, Rhoda. And we have somebody who is helping her, who is a music teacher as well.
Really?
And Maddie has functioned in NIFTY as a song leader and 100 other things, and grew up to be taller than me, which I really resent. But I could wear heels, but so far I haven't. In any case, I've asked Maddie to come and help not only with the kids for music, but just to be here for us on other weeks as well, because she has imaginings of going to Hebrew Union College, to the cantorial school, and this is a perfect congregation for someone to sort of collect their chops before they go. And so she's going to be here on occasions and help, and this is going to be great. So there, you want to start with something? If you do, there's a microphone. That'd be great. Once Shabbat came to God to complain. Every day of the week has a partner. Sunday goes with Monday, Tuesday goes with Wednesday, and Thursday goes with Friday. Only I don't have a partner. God replied, the people of Israel will be your partner.
for this song, I want to invite the kids from Ohel Moed to come up with me and sing Hine Mato.
We had a small calendar issue. Most of the Ohel Moed students were committed to something else tonight. So this is going to be great.
It's the mini version of what you're going to see.
Go straight to a dollar. Let's just be a second. You can learn all the tricks of how to fix screens any second now. There we go. Almost. One more step. Maybe it was the song. Okay. God began the world by saying, "Let there be light." We begin Shabbat with candlelight saying, "Baruch atah Adonai." God finished creating the world by making Shabbat a holy day. We make Shabbat a holy day for ourselves together. Make to light our Shabbat candles tonight, we call on Fern Barishman. Shamor to guard, Vizahor to remember.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadrin shel Shabbat. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. Shabbat shalom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei bri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzonu, v'shabbat kodsho v'ahalahu ratzon yichilanu. Zikaron ma'aseh b'reishit, Kivuyom techila l'mekayei kodesh, Zecher yetziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu hafarta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim. Shabbat Kodshecha B'Ahavu V'Ratzon V'Navatanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Heaven and earth were finished in all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing, and God stopped on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And we ask all of our kids to go open the door for the Shabbat bride. The front door. Oh, Prayer is the way we speak to God. Sometimes we pray alone. Sometimes we pray with others.
Sometimes we pray out loud. Sometimes we pray silently.
Sometimes we pray with our words. Sometimes we pray with our deeds.
Sometimes we say our prayers. Sometimes we sing.
However we choose to pray, God, we pray you will always hear us. Please rise as we open the Ark to the Shema U'Birchoteha, beginning with the Baruch Hu.
Adonai.
בחוכמה פותח שערים, ובתבונה משנה עיתים ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם, ברקיע כרצונו. God, you gave us the Torah to show that you love us. May it always be a friend at our side.
The Torah is our teacher. It tells us what is right and what is wrong. It shows us how to live our lives.
Be with us always when we study Torah. Be with us always as we try to live good lives.
We praise you, eternal God. We gave the Jewish people the Torah. It is your special gift to us. It is the gift of your love.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kidron Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננת לבבך ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. How do we love God?
We love God when we teach and share. Help us, God, show your love in every way.
How do we love God with all our hearts?
We love God with all our hearts when we love other people. Help us, God, to respect everyone, to speak kind words, to listen well.
How do we love God with all our minds?
We love God with all our minds, which is the Torah. Help us, God, to learn your Torah.
How do we love God with all our strength?
We love God when we share what we have. Helping others is where we love God with all our strength.
Help us, God, to be people who give tzedakah.
Eternal God, we want to show you we love you through all our deeds. May our love make the world a better place, the kind of world you meant it to be when you created us.
You are with us.
When we sleep and when we wake, when it is dark, we turn to you for light. When we are afraid, we turn to you for courage. When we feel weak, we turn to you for strength. Be with us tonight and always. Help us to know you are there.
When woman and man were made, God left one good thing for last. Now the seventh day has come. Now Shabbat begins.
To bring us rest, to bring us joy, to bring us song, to bring us peace.
On this day we remember the goodness of earth and air, water and sun, and all that grows.
On this day we remember the many gifts of God. Let us remember and let us give thanks.
Pray as if everything depended on God, but act as if everything depended on you. As we rise for the Tefillah prayer, the most important part at the middle of our service, we call on Cheryl and Aiden Lieberman. For those used to doing the entire Avot and Geburot, please be aware that tonight the form is a little bit different because of what we set up for a family service. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Right. גאולה לבניהם, למען שמו ואהבה, מלך עוזר מושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. Sometimes when I talk to God, I feel connected to something from long, long ago, something that makes me feel safe, that lets me know I am never alone. Atagi Bolo Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atara Loshia, Mechaye Chayim B'Chesed, Mechaye HaKol B'Rachamim, Somek Nothim B'Rovei Cholim, U'Machir Asurim. We are mighty like God when we help other people. And peace will continue.
We are strong like God when we feed the poor. We are great like God when we care for the sick. We are awesome like God when we want people to be free. We are amazing like God when we take care of our hurt. Our God is to remember all the good things we do. We promise to try to be like you.
Atah Kadosh, B'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kashim V'Moyom Haleluya Zela, Baruch Atah Adonai, Adonai HaKadosh. We continue silently and meet again at Shalom Rav. peace look like? What does peace sound like? What does peace feel like?
It feels like just tears when you do not lose us. It feels like people always outside laughing and caring. It feels like everything's going to be okay.
Oseh shalom b'Ramah. Kuyah shalom. Amen. Yom Israel. Amen. Ruth Benson, Vivian Berkman, Beverly Elster, Helen Heller, Len Heller, Dorothy Janin, Sandu Kreuter, Linda Levin, Effie Morabito, Joe Morabito, Joel Rosenberg, Ethel Rolnick, Sarah Teitelbaum, Jackie Ward, and if there are other names, please feel free.
Ruth Ann Luss Martin, Rosemary Steinberg, Jay Dorson,
George Walsh.
Adrian Long, Mark Schwarm, Victoria Levin, Harry Simon, Ron Blakely, Timothy Miller, and Jerry Smith.
Sarah Ethan Shellish and Mary Rafferty.
Tina Hackett, Meredith Inglis, Tina Hackett,
Lawrence Berger.
Linda Chris Vittoria.
Alan Shirley Hoffman. Yehudi Batorlea, Batorlea,
Announcements. A part of our lives that we cannot get rid of and cannot live without.
Shabbat Shalom. Just to let you know that hopefully within about a month or so, announcements won't have to be read during the service. Hopefully we're going to get the announcements up on the screens prior to the start of services. So that will save a little extra time here. I'd like to wish those who are celebrating birthdays and anniversaries this upcoming week a happy birthday and anniversary. In our weekly news, we also mentioned Rich Schnabel, whose birthday is a week from today. I would like to thank Jack and Julia for representing our religious school, our Ohel Moed, here this evening. And I would like to thank their teachers, Rhoda, stand up for me, and Maddie. And now for our upcoming events. I'm going to go through a few quickly because we have a special announcement near the end. We have our Sephardic music concert with Trio Sephardi a week from tomorrow, which is Saturday, February 9th. Sisterhood Luncheon and Card Party is Tuesday, February 12th. Shabbat Across America and Potluck Dinner is Friday, March 1st. The special cost on that is a dish for the potluck dinner. And then, of course, we have the Sisterhood and Brotherhood Dinner Show, Saturday, March 2nd. And then a special announcement. Daryl Schwartz and the Treasure Coast High School has invited us to join them for a European Holocaust tour. We have several packets that will be available at the ONIC if you are interested. This tour is from June 10th through June 21st. It will cover 6 different cities in Poland and in Germany. There will be a special information session this coming Tuesday, February 5th at 7:30 here at the temple. Daryl Schwartz will be here giving more detailed information, answering any questions you might have. This is probably going to be a one-time opportunity. This is the first time that Daryl has put this tour together, and as he said, because of the intensity of the tour, he probably will not be doing it next year. So this is a great opportunity for those of you who wish to go on this tour. It is a private tour. There is nobody else going on but the people that he signed up for this particular tour. And I know our rabbi is going as one of the adults, and although that's kind of questionable at times, but as the spiritual leader on this trip, he is going, and we are all invited And like I said, for more detailed information, some of the information is in this packet. I will have it at the ONIC. But if you come on Tuesday, Daryl's not asking for a firm commitment, just an idea of those who are seriously interested, because the cost will depend upon how many people are going. So I hope everybody will join us at the ONIC that is being sponsored and prepared by the Sisterhood. Shabbat Shalom.
I would just like to add, we are also going to Czechoslovakia.
Oh, yes.
And the reason I bring that up is if you have never been to Prague, it is a most remarkable city. We will be doing, we will be doing memorial services in Auschwitz, at Dachau, at other places. It is going to be truly a once-in-a-lifetime trip. If any of you have seen the movie The Zookeeper's Wife, we are trying to make advances to be able to visit the zoo. We will be seeing some astonishing things that I have never either imagined we could see or thought that I would ever go to see. I can tell you I once did a memorial service in Theresienstadt, and it was squares of grass. I remember 6, and they were not small, but they were not big. And we all huddled, and I couldn't remember the songs that we had decided I would sing. My mind went completely blank. And so I just hit chords, and the songs came themselves. It was afterwards that somebody asked the curator, what are the little stones in the corner of each of these squares? And he said, that's how we know where the grave sites are. And I realized that while my voice had been stilled, the voice of tens of thousands that we were standing in the middle of was heard, and that I was only a remote vessel for the voices of those who we stood in the middle of to be heard again. If you ever imagined a trip that would touch you and take you someplace almost unspeakable, but amazing, and something to see, and something to stand at, to say, we didn't lose, and you sure didn't win. This really is the trip. I'm not a great fan of these kinds of trips. I did them for 20 years, and very few of them were true Holocaust trips. But we are a generation who is the last ones, if we don't remember and tell the stories. We're the last generation who can experience much of what we will see. And so if you want to do something that I really do believe is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, come Tuesday night. See what Daryl has to say. We as adults would be going with students from Treasure Coast High School, the majority of whom are not Jewish, who are going by choice, whose parents are paying for this trip. So there is a generation that finds all of this to be incredibly important and compelling. Imagine if we as individuals and we as a group could be the voice of those who only have us to speak for them. If you can, please, come Tuesday, see what it's about, then you decide. The trip's going. Trip's going anyway. Would be quite amazing to see some of the things. And I'm not going to tell you what the things are. There are some itineraries outside after the service, and Darrell will really go into some detail. But I will tell you, years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, that was my job, was creating itineraries for Israel tour companies. I've never seen an itinerary like this. Tuesday, 7:30. Come hear what the opportunity is. As we move to conclude tonight's service, I call on Jill, Julia, and Jack Agenziano to come open the ark. Two doors, three people. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon l'akol, v'teitziu l'al yotzer b'reishit, shelo asam v'glei ha'atzos, shelo asam ha'adama, shelo asam v'lekeinu kahem, tigor aleinu k'chol ha'olam, v'hanachnu korim, v'mishtakadim v'munolim, We remain standing as we come to the Kaddish prayer, a prayer of remembrance, a prayer where we remember yard sites of those whose lives and journeys have ended. We mention, however, with sadness, the passing this week of Skip Harris, former Sisterhood president, the wife of former Temple President Will Harris, and sister-in-law of Sue Clatch. We also mention those whose yard sites occur this week, as we mention the names of Mayor Block, Eileen Cohen, Renee Flower Cypress, Sarah Eisenberg, Barnett Filler, Leon Goldberg, Sylvia Goldberg, Esther Eisenberg, David Jacobs, Bertha Callett, Scott Lipman, Bruno Menkel, Harold Morin, Lawrence Orange, Charles Pekalis, Edward Pekalis, Ruth Ruby Platt, Solomon Portnoy, Nan Rubin, Jonathan David Sachs, Jean Segal, Bernard Selkin, Louis Silver, Sophia Silverstein, Rose Leah Snyder, Ted Stockel, Rose Tartak, Harry Weber, Sam Weinberg, Sophie Weiss, Maurice Williams. We also mention all those taken at the hand of the oppressor, including over 1.5 million children, for whom we stand to recite Kaddish for them. Yet Gadal Yet Kadash Shnei Raha, Yamad Yirach Yirtei, Yamid Yirtei, Chayekon Yomekon, Chayedefot Beit Yisrael, V'Gavad Zman Karim Yilu Umeikon, Yehei Shnei Raha Mevarach, L'olam Ulamel Maya, Yefarach V'Yishlach, Yefahar V'Yishlach Yetnaseh, Yetadar Yetalev Yetalal Shmei Yekushah, Ve'ela Minkol Yetata V'Shirata, Dushterchata V'Nechamata, Da'mirana Olam Yimiru Amen. Yehi Shalom Arabah Ben Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'Yam Kol Yisrael Yimiru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Mrama, Uya Aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'Yam Kol Yisrael Yimiru Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. Oops, it's not Hanukkah. Still not Hanukkah. But we do have Shabbat magic. She has no idea what's coming. I just want you to know that I had to stop for a minute because Maddie's been a student of mine for years. And all of a sudden, this extraordinarily beautiful young woman showed up and led a congregation in prayer. And it touched me in a very deep way. I know that our generations are safe. And to prove it, she's going to do Shabbat magic. On the count of 3, you can just pull this off. No, 3. 1, 2, voila! Challah. And this one's already wrapped for the next one. Don't think Jews don't wrap. Okay, fine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ha'osim lechem min haaretz. Amen. May we go forward on this Shabbat. Again, the new tradition, all traditions are new at some point, is that we will leave the sanctuary by that door and go through and into the Flax Social Hall through the lobby. May we go forward always, rejoicing in generations to follow in the fact that we can lead. Shabbat Shalom. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot.
Wherever we go, we turn to Egypt. There is a better place, a promised land, that the winding ways that promise passes through the wilderness.
There is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Shema Yisrael. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might.
Take to heart these instructions which I charge you today, and press them upon your children.
Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up.
Bind the sign of your hand, and let the earth is on your forehead. Inscribe on the doorposts of your house and on the gates.
Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments, and to be holy to your God.
I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God, Adonai Elohim Emes.
You performed miracles for us before Pharaoh.
Signs and wonders in the land of the Egyptians. You led your people Israel out from their midst to freedom for all time. From the children who used your arms and spoke praise your name in character. But they accepted your sovereignty. Those who hear you in all Israel sanctity together, live in your Lord's joys.
rise for tefillah. And as we do, we call on Kathy Eisenberg and Sherry Gorst. Adonai, Sifetai Tifta, Uviyaki Lateta. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, 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 Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Gadol, Ha'yikram, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'kunei Hakol, V'zocher Chazdei Avot V'imahot, V'mei Geulah L'ibnei B'neihem, L'man Shemot V'Ahava, Melech Moshe Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ezra Tzara, Atah Geulah Adonai, B'chayei Hakol Atah Moshiach, Mechapel Chaim B'chesed, Mechayei Hakol B'rachamim Rabim, Zomek Noflim B'rovei Cholim, U'matir Asurim, U'mekayei Emunato, L'shegei Avar, Nichamocha B'Gevurot, U'midon Melach, Melech Mebit U'mekayei, U'mashiach Yeshua, B'nei Matala Chayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, B'chayei HaKol. Atah Kadosh, B'shimcha Kadosh, U'Kedoshim b'chol yom ya'alelucha Selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. The heaven and the earth were finished. Mention our members: Barbara Abramowitz, Ruth Benson, Vivian Bergman, Beverly Elster, Helen Heller, Len Heller, Dorothy Janet, Sandu Kreuter, Linda Levin, Evie Morabito, Joe Morabito, Joel Rosenberg, Ethel Rolnick, Sarah Teitelbaum, Jackie Ward. If there are other names, please feel free to share.
Jenny Shabona, Karen Louise Snyder, Melissa Matthews, Baby Zachary, and Suzanne Brando. Joe Freeman.
Marty Ostias, Dog Stone.
Chuck Burchett, Papa Burchett. Frank Cordero, and Kwame Spurgeon. Tina Heck, Meredith Nicholas, Athena Haggerty, Anita Silverman, and Jerry Silverman. George Walsh. Frank Nathan Condos. Benjamin Cronin, Michelle Orcari. William Watts. Adrian Rowan, Walter Shorman, Victoria Leslie, Harry Connolly, Ron Blakely, Lynn Miller, and Sharon Snake.
Rosemary Steinkamp, Jake Burson, Ruth Ann Lusbar.
Susan Long.
David Hathaway.
Yehudi Dora Leah, Russell Chava Abigail.
So, it seems like just 2 weeks ago that we were given the Aseret HaDibrot, the Ten Commandments. And last week it seems that God decided to tell us what to do with them. And God didn't really tell us what to do with them. God simply said they're there. What are you going to do with them? The challenge was set. Or as Hercule Poirot would say, the shoe is on the other hand. Gotta watch the movie. What do we do now that we have them and God has only explained some? We, us, are the following generations who still have the same problem. We have a God who trusted us. We have a God who believed in us enough to not have to lay out and dictate every step. Think about that. We have a God who gave us a bunch of sort of unclear rules and then said, have at it, but do them. Most of the Aseret HaDibrot, the 10 utterances, are in fact not very clear. They start with no or don't, but they don't really clarify a whole lot of things. It's for us to sort out. What do we do with them all? And it's not just what God has told us. It is everything in our lives. It is a metaphor for our lives. What does life put in front of us, and how do we deal with it? What do we choose to do? Because almost nothing is absolute. Next Tuesday at 7:30, and I hope you can all be here, someone who is becoming a very dear friend of mine and the congregation will be here. Because his first name is relatively unpronounceable, he goes by the name Victor Beg. His first name is Khalid. He has been a Muslim in America for almost 50 years. He is not related to, does not know, and finds despicable all those involved in 9/11. To some people in our country, that's still a shock. Because to some people, they're all bad. Every one of them. He wrote a book. He wrote a book called Our Muslim Neighbors. And it's interesting because he didn't say your Muslim neighbors, he said our Muslim neighbors. And he asked me if I would read the book. And I said, well, sure. And he handed me pieces and parts. He hadn't finished it yet. So I read half, because that was all I had. And I wrote something that I am enormously honored to have found that they used as the foreword of the book. And what I said was, the more I read about Khalid Victor Beg and his family, the more I realize I am him, and he is us. His experience in his life is no different than our families. He has been reviled because he's a Muslim. We have an entire generation that was reviled because we were Jews. His children were verbally assaulted by people because they said, you must be one of them. I was suspended from high school on Rosh Hashanah because they didn't know I was one of them. They are us. There are a couple of bad ones. Yes, there are. But if you want to play that out, you will then have to ask me to give the lecture that I have given for the last 24 years, which starts out with, I married into the mob. Because my two great uncles that I married into are two of the biggest gangsters in American history. And that is really not a joke. One decided whether you would live or die, and the other one would kill you. They don't know how many people Uncle Doc killed. They do know a whole lot of other things about these great uncles. So, if you're going to take the logic that they're all bad, we got a whole lot of problems that are following us. And Vic and Ronnie know because they grew up with right in that area. They grew up in Newark. They went to school in Newark. So they know part of the family that I married into. And it wasn't a joke. They didn't tell me till after we were married. It was Yom Kippur. It was a break the fast. Aunt Frida said, maybe we should tell him now. I'm sorry, I'm a little fuzzy on what you mean about tell me now. And she said, you might want to sit down. So I went and I sat down, and she pulled out a binder, and she opened the binder, and she said, do any of these people look familiar? And I said, yeah. There's Bugsy Siegel, there's Meyer Lansky, there's Albert Anastasia, who was the chief enforcer of Murder Incorporated, and I don't know that one. She says, do you know the real tall one standing next to Albert Anastasia? I go, no. She says, that's your new uncle. Thank you. There was a whole generation of them, pieces and parts, and we loved them. We loved them. Uncle Longy's funeral was the largest funeral ever held in the city of Newark. There were over 300 cars in the procession. It took over 2.5 hours to go from the temple to the cemetery. The streets were lined by the thousands. It was in all the papers. But we loved them because they were ours. All Muslims do not subscribe to, accept, or like what some have done. They resist it, they fight it. But it is part of what they have to wear because outsiders do not allow them in. 2 weeks ago, God spoke to Moses on the mountain. And the whole overview of what God said to Moses was be civilized, decent people and treat people like they would treat you. We cannot be truthful to our background and dismiss entire parts of our lives and entire generations of people who are now defined as other. Because it was us who were the others. Some of you know that my mother just was, she's dealing with some dementia things, and so I got to go through all of her papers. And I found a binder. And in it was all of her father's information from when he came across. And there was a paper where my grandfather, who was a tailor, and a really lousy one, put my mother into an orphanage because he couldn't take care of her. And the American culture didn't give a patoot. My mother was raised in an orphanage. So was her best friend. They grew up together. They married out of the orphanage. That was a phrase that I didn't understand until recently. My mother's maiden name was Zarwinitzer. I love when banks call and go, what's your mother's maiden name? And I go, you better sit down. And I saw a newspaper clipping of her engagement to my father. I've never seen this before. And I took a look and I went, can you believe that newspaper? They didn't even print the whole name. I said to my mother, what's with the newspaper? They didn't print Zarwinitzer. They printed Zarwin. I said, why'd they do that? And she said to me, your grandmother was cheap and they were charging by the letter. I said, we know that. What was the truth? And the truth was my father's last name was Benson, which could sound Swedish. And Zarwin could sound German. but not Jewish. Why then when Zarwin was German and Zarwanitzer was Jewish? But they did. We are not so far from where they are now. It is on us to stand up for everybody. We did that for generations, and we expected them to do it for us. Tuesday night, Victor is going to be here, probably to read part of the book, but to talk about the Muslim experience trying to become the Geirim, the strangers in a strange land, the strangers trying to settle into a world. How we choose to respond suggests how much did we hear standing at the bottom of the mountain 2 weeks ago when God says, follow this, not by the letter, but by the intent. Who will we choose to be? Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Lydia Bauman. I am a member of the Temple Board. I'd like to welcome all our visitors also and wish a happy birthday to all who are celebrating this week. Tomorrow is the Trio Safari concert at 7 o'clock here at the Temple. Tickets are $10. It should be a fantastic concert. I hope you all join us. The Sisterhood Card Party is this Tuesday, the 12th at 11:30. Lunch is being catered by 2J's. Also on the 12th, as the rabbi mentioned, at 7:30, author Hajj Victor Bey will be here at the temple to discuss his book. All are welcome to this free event. There will also be a 6-week program on diabetes self-management here at the temple. Look for the flyers in the lobby. On March 1st, we celebrate Shabbat across America with a potluck dinner prior to the services. Dinner starts at 5:30. Sign up and let us know what you will be bringing. On March 2nd, the Sisterhood and Brotherhood Mardi Gras celebration dinner starts at 6 p.m. The Treasure Coast Jewish Film Festival will be at Temple Beth Shalom in Vero Beach on March 10th. There will also be a trivia on March 16th at 7 o'clock. Tickets are available. Get ready because the Rhythm Chicks are back by popular demand. Set your calendars for April 13th, mistakenly reported as the 15th in the weekly newsletter. Hope you all will join us. Shabbat Shalom.
As we move to conclude our service, we call for the Aleinu, Toby Reddick, and our birthday boy, Rich Schneebel. This could be a really long weekend for you, Rich. Yeah, constant comments. Aleinu l'shabeach mator u'marko, matei shuvah v'reshi, shelo asar kiroyeh ha'atzot, v'lo asar v'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo asar k'nekayem, v'yorachem v'kol ha'olam, v'anavnu gorim, v'mishkachim v'vodim, v'k'nei Sidney Rosenzweig, Stella Saphir, Faye Savage, Isaac Siegel, Sidney Murray Slutskin, Etta Stack, Israel Taslit, Connie Yeglinski, Donald Ziev. We also remember all those taken by the hands of the oppressor, including over 1.5 million children for whom we are responsible to recite Kaddish. Yet Yadal to which we say, Amen. Adonam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'chekto Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nivra Ve'acharei Kivot HaKol V'vato Yimloch Norah V'hu Haya V'hu Oveh V'hu Yiyeh V'tivara V'hu Echad להמשיכו, להכבירה, לראשית ולתכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה. והוא אלי וחי גואלי, בצורך לי בצרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא. בידו אפקיד רוחי, בעת אישן והעירה, ואם רוחי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא. And guess who we're going to call up for Shabbat magic? We're getting them worked up with a trip that we are going to take, the Holocaust trip through Europe that we're going to take in June. If you want information, it's going to run from June 10th to June 21st. We're going to see multiple countries and amazing things from and about the Holocaust. And if it is of interest, please talk to me tonight because I think registration closes within a week.
Actually, the discounts are closed in a week.
Oh, the discounts close in a week, so you get to go to see Holocaust things cheaper.
Right.
It's good. Can you do it? He did it. The sheriff did it. Voila, voila. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamosi lechem haaretz. As we go forward on this Shabbat, let us remember that even God does not tell us absolute. God gives us a vision and a possibility. It is for us to decide. Shabbat Shalom. If you would join us at the Flax Social Hall, feel free. Please exit through that door.